Good afternoon, Google Beach. Okay, I'm putting that limp response down to the heat. So let's try that again, right? But pretend, we'll edit that bit out. Ready? Good afternoon, Google Beach. Wow, slightly patronizing, but I'll take it. It's hot, right? But let's not moan, because hot is good. Welcome to Google Beach. Those of you who have just arrived and not been around all week and seen many lightning talks and things, please make sure you stick around. We've got some fantastic things all day for you today, and also the demos as well. Make sure you visit all our demo stations and basically have a good time. I got paid a huge amount of money to come up with a hashtag this year, so I came up with hashtag Google Beach. I know, I'm like you guys, just so creative. I'm quite a big deal, actually. But there we go. So anyway, our hashtag is Google Beach, right? So the idea is you take nice photos and you say nice things and you post them and Google Beach and we love you and then we give you smoothies and it's beautiful. You get that? You get that? Okay, good. If you have missed any of our lightning talks, then why is the first question. But we haven't got time to go into that. But if you did miss them, then all the content is being uploaded onto YouTube. So you can go on there and find the lightning talks. And every day, in fact, at the end of every day, we're kind of collating some of the kind of big key messages and things. And that is living on social media under the handle of @ThinkWithGoogle. All right? So make sure you kind of hook up and have a look at that. Right, we will very shortly be starting our first lightning talk, but there's been a whole buzz around Cannes this year about my little mind game things that just, everyone loves, and I guess that's probably what you're really here for. Okay, fine. So what it is, right, is it's my job to kind of just whip you into a frenzy, which clearly you're already in. But we're going to do this anyway, because it's important that your mind is ready to start thinking. I appreciate there was a bit of rosé drinking going on last. Why no rosé? No, just vodka. Shit, just vodka. Lots of drinking going on, so we need to make sure your minds are active. So first of all, let's bring up this little slide. This is kind of a job just to get you in the right mind frame, okay? So first of all, nice and loud, I'd like you to read out the colour that you see, not the word. So this would be green, of course, not red. So we're going to go along the line, nice and loud. So can you just to get your mind active this afternoon? So let's go. It's nice and loud. Off you go. Green. Right, yeah, okay, so you're still drunk. That's what we've established. That rosé's strong out here, right? Especially in the sun. Okay, the other thing, and this is I know that this is why you're here, the mind game thing. So we're going to just play with your mind a little bit. Let's bring up an example, right? So see if you can work these out. This is either a phrase or a word that's been kind of mixed up a bit. So this is a phrase. I'll tell you what this one is. This is 2 steps forward and 1 step back. You got that? You haven't got it. You have got it. You're asleep. I'm carrying on. Okay, so let's bring up one that you've got to work out yourself. Breakfast. Who said that? Congratulations. You win a smoothie or a coffee or any of the stuff we have for nothing. Okay, we have time for just 20 more of these, and then we'll do the lightning talk. One more, I promise. Let's bring up the next one. Afternoon tea. Congratulate. Look at you. So proud of yourself there. Good man. Well done. You win nothing, but thank you. So I do these every day before the lightning talk, so make sure you come back because they're lots of fun, aren't they? Good. Okay, are you ready for our first lightning talk? Indeed you are, because that's why you're here. So this is how will Jen Z save us. So to kick off this session, I'm going to introduce you to a film, actually. It's called Little by Little. And it's the launch film. Let's take a look.
Hello. Hi, Google Beach. How's everyone doing? My name's Frances. I work at the United Nations World Food Programme, and I have the honor of moderating this panel. And I'm going to start by bringing up our fantastic panelists, the YouTube sensation, the woman you've just seen in that video, Jillian Mercado. Come to the stage. We have Jennifer Rizzi here from Ogilvy, Anthony Yell from Sapient Razorfish, and Michelle Hillerman from the Ad Council. Come on up. Hey. So, it's not very often that the United Nations collides with this world. Like, believe it or not, this isn't our kind of day-to-day bread and butter situation. But a couple of years ago, in 2016, something quite amazing happened at Cannes Lions. And that was the world's largest communications and media companies coming together to launch Common Ground. And Common Ground is the pledge from all of these companies to support the United Nations in our global goals for sustainable development. Now, I don't need to tell this audience that there's some pretty bitter rivalries among some of those entities. But nevertheless, this year they came together. We partnered with Google and YouTube and said, you're not just doing things individually, you're all going to work on a campaign together for the global goals. And what did that look like? We had an amazing 3 days at YouTube. We had an amazing team from Google supporting us, and these companies put some of their best and brightest talent in a room with the United Nations to really crack this nut. And in March, we launched Little by Little, and that's the campaign we're going to talk about today. In just the last 2 months, 70 million views on YouTube, over 2 billion impressions for the campaign as a whole. We don't want to get into this as a case study. We're looking at what's next on this panel. So, Anthony, let me start with you.
Sure.
Because for us at the United Nations, when you get the largest holding companies together, plus the power of Google and YouTube, we didn't want to give them something easy. We said, okay, we've got 17 goals, 17 issues, and 2 billion young people under 30, something like that.
Yep.
Multiple markets.
Multiple markets.
Go crack that nut.
Sure.
How did you get there?
Well, it was actually an interesting personal journey for me because I was in Cannes about 2 years ago and I was in the Palais and they announced that Ban Ki-moon was going to be on stage with all of the holding company execs and I was just like, whoa, that never happens. This is impossible. So I was just like, I'm going to stay and watch what happens. And that was the formal announcement around Common Futures, Common Ground, and it was really exciting to be part of. And then being part of Publicis, Maurice stood up and was like, "Oh, we're going to support the SDG around food waste." And I was like, "Fantastic!" Because I happened to be working with Michelle on Save the Food with the Ad Council. I was like, "Brilliant! Everything's going to work out." And during the process of working with Publicis to figure out how we could help extend the support, we ended up getting invited to this Google Hackathon, which was in New York, and we sent a junior team that represented, the youth and effectively Gen Z. And they spent 3 days in a highly collaborative manner with other teams from all of the different holding companies, Ogilvy, Havas, Digitas, Huge, the list kind of goes on, monitored by Wyden and Kennedy, and they came up with an idea in 3 days, which was actually originally called Start Here. And really what it was focused on giving people, specifically Gen Z, the ability to identify opportunities to help. And the insight that we uncovered was that Gen Z, whilst it is the largest generation in human history, which I guess is vigorously debated in the YouTube comments, struggle with understanding how to help. They think that the world challenges are probably too complex and too big for them to actually have an impact on. So what we wanted to do was effectively show that everywhere around you is all of these opportunities to actually take a stand, do something. So we took that kernel of an idea and realized that we probably couldn't run with it because there were other naming issues and so on and so forth. So then we spent a considerable amount of time, and Roberta from Google would remember this, effectively thinking about how to actually rebrand it. And we ultimately came out with this notion of little by little, which we really liked because effectively it was a verb. And we felt that that reflected the actions of every little action that everybody could take, adding up to something much, much bigger. So that's where the core idea came from. And then We then transferred that into an anthem film, which helped sort of evoke the sensibility of it, and then worked with Ogilvy on setting up ambassadors and other UCG content that allowed people to see these little 6-second things that they could do that would allow them to have an impact.
Amazing. And I think what we've seen with the impact on this campaign is it really is driven by citizens. There's been some fantastic support from our partners, but we've seen folks picking it up, taking it into their own life. And influencers like Jillian here, recently called YouTube sensation, Instagram influencer. You're known for your fashion, you're known for your social, you're also known as an activist. What was it about this campaign that made you want to get on board?
I mean, thank you for that lovely introduction. I think personally, with my peers and people who I hang out with, we want to help the world. I think because of social media, we're given the ability to see what's going on in the whole world on our phones, super quick. But like you said, I think we get overwhelmed by how much there is to be done. So as soon as I heard about this, I was like, oh my God, it's perfect, because they're just tiny steps that we do pretty much every day. But if we focus on it to like cut showers and use metal straws and pretty much save the planet, you kind of feel like a superhero, you know? And everybody wants to feel like a superhero. So I was like, yes, I'm in, I'm game. I would love to be a part of this.
Amazing. And your video on YouTube has had over 70 million views since its launch in March. People were just going, yeah, read the comments. Right.
36 million.
36
million.
It's up.
70 million views.
Okay.
Latest numbers are in. 70 million views. So Jen, talk to us a bit about YouTube platform, because we've looked at, this is the largest generation in history. Jillian just said you've got content coming at you constantly. Folks want to take action, but they don't really know where to start. Why was YouTube the right platform to launch this campaign?
YouTube was the right place to go because it's a natural, sorry for my voice, I have a really bad cold right now. YouTube is just the natural place to reach Gen Zers. And I think that from an overall communication perspective, you know, every communications campaign that you do, you customize it to reach your objectives. And, you know, this had to be a little bit different because we had to really target this audience in a different way. And we knew engaging folks like Jillian was the right way to do it. So when we had our launch moment in March, we knew we had to get folks like yourself, like Jillian, on board and others, because this generation likes to listen to other influencers. So we knew a traditional press campaign was not going to work. But we took it a step further. We identified the right influencers. We produced some great content with our partners. And then we took the influencers and had them talk to traditional media. So having influencers talk to places like the Associated Press, or talking to Nylon, or even going on Cheddar, which is a site that a lot of next generation leaders go. I mean, we had to figure out a way to blend traditional as well as next generation type media tactics. And I think that the reason this worked is because, yes, we had amazing influencers like yourself, but also the power of our networks that came together. I mean, I think, you know, you always say, like, you know, these agencies and holding companies, you know, there's always these rivalries, but I've seen nothing but collaboration on this project. And I think that's part of the reason it's been successful. And as part of our launch, we even had a story that we secured talking about the partnership, in addition to the work, to really just kind of hopefully lead by example of what others should be trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it really has been amazing from the United Nations perspective. We're a bit more familiar with bringing together warring parties, maybe different types of actors. But to actually all work on one campaign, I don't think it's ever been done, right? There's nothing that kind of at this scale has been seen. So let's turn to Michelle then, because Michelle, you're with the Ad Council,
Yep.
and I want to ask you about this partnership. You guys are doing amazing things. You bring together folks for good in advertising all the time. Is this a model that you're seeing grow? Are there people putting aside their differences? What does partnership look like in this space?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the framework of competitors coming together, putting their hats aside, and really rallying around big social issues is really kind of a new model that we're seeing. Our Love Has No Labels campaign around diversity and inclusion is a great example. We have brands like Coke and Pepsi and Unilever and P&G, like age-old competitors that have, checked their baggage at the side and rallied around this to make social change. We're seeing coalitions come together around gun safety, opioid prevention, really big social issues that people are realizing they can't tackle alone. And if they harness their passion and come together, they can really use their superpowers for good. I love that you said that, because we say that a lot at the Ad Council also. So this Common Ground partnership is a fantastic example of how you can just be more powerful if everyone kind of sits at the table together and is on the same track.
Amazing. And we're seeing that tie in with how citizens are using digital tools and social media to build those coalitions themselves.
Yeah.
We think of the last 6 months, the March for Our Lives, campaigns like this that have just come seemingly out of nowhere to have real impact at the policy and political level. Gillian, you have a really diverse group of followers. Your influence probably spans more types of people and groups than a lot of other influencers. Was there anything for you getting involved with this campaign that surprised you about Gen Z?
No. I definitely, the video was done beautifully. It was edited, honestly, perfectly. I even was like, wow, this is amazing.
Good job.
It took me by surprise. But it didn't surprise me because, like I said before, I think we all want to be part of something big, and especially now in the political state we're in at the moment. I've never been to so many marches in my life than the past 2 years. And, I think we want our voices to be heard. We're sick and tired of how things have been going. So being a part of this, it was, some people don't want to go to marches or, don't really want to be in the forefront of things, but they do want to help and they do want to be a part of something big. And especially with this campaign, you can be part of something big. You can be part of a collection of people who also want to see the world change for the better. We do live in this planet all together. Whether we want it or not, we live here and we have to, this is our home and we have to treat it as if. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Round of applause for that. Come on. Absolutely. So Jen, you did a ton of research into Gen Z and exactly what Gillian's saying here. How are folks organizing themselves differently from previous generations? What did you find in that research, and what's the key difference between Gen Z and millennials?
This is a very open generation. It's a generation that wants to support things and do things that actually are about giving back and good, and they're all very accountable. They're accountable themselves, and they also hold other people accountable. So we knew whatever we did needed to be very authentic. It couldn't just be me sitting at Ogilvy drafting messages, and then I send them to my partners and saying, oh, this is going to work. It was, we had to really research folks like yourself and others who were the right people to bring to the table, because the authenticity needed to be there or this wasn't going to work. And I think part of the reason, and I know we have a slide, I don't know if we want to show it now, but the results, like what we've shown is the level of the authenticity, it honestly played off. We literally did 3 or 4 interviews, and this is what happened. Because the video was so good, we had the right message, we had the right people talking about the message. That's why it was successful, and that's why we're all excited about what's next. Because when you have the right recipe, and this generation is very much about believing in causes and trying to be accountable and also holding other people accountable, you can do a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. And it's happening anyway, right? That train is out of the station, and young people are doing it, whether we're catching up with them or not. So we'd better be there. Michelle, you're doing a ton of stuff at the Ad Council with Gen Z. You're looking at these issues, these new campaigns. Any tips or tricks from what you guys have been doing and seeing works with this generation?
Yeah, we work on a few different issues with the audience. We're talking about STEM and girls and bullying prevention and underage drinking and driving. And, like Jen said, we know that traditional media is not where these guys are. They're gobbling up information so quickly, taking action, moving on to the next thing. And so looking to bring in authenticity, as well as really the influencer piece and voices like Gillian is exactly the way that we would approach it. We have a program, Creators for Good, where we've brought together over 100 influencers in the last year that have worked on 20 causes and 40 million views, and really kind of lending their voice to bring the credibility to the issue, which has been fantastic. So.
Amazing. Anthony, last question. You get the last word on it.
Sure.
It's all down to you.
Okay.
Little by Little, launched in March, 70 million views on YouTube.
Yep.
Jillian's out there. She's got her friends. Yara
Super.
Shahidi.
Yep.
This thing has steam. So what's next for Little by Little?
Well, in my mind, I think it's an open call to arms for everybody here and everybody across all of the different networks, and quite frankly, anybody that wants to get involved, to demonstrate ways in which they can contribute these little micro moments that can actually fundamentally add up when you multiply them by the 2 billion people and hopefully more that go beyond Gen Z that could actually start to have an impact on the various different SDGs. So from our standpoint, from Publicis' standpoint, we're committed to, continuing to support this campaign, continuing to support it more of a movement and a platform than specifically a campaign. And I would offer, I know there's a session after this, right? I don't know whether that's open invite. Is it open invite? I might have just messed up, but
There's a couple slots for the people with the best ideas in the audience. Come and workshop the next phase with us.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's it. I think that it's just in its beginning phases. And I think we've got an awful lot of work to do because there's an awful lot of work to do. So.
And Publicis have been an amazing partner. Ogilvy have as well. Jen, from your side, what does it look like the next couple of months?
I think we have to just, as you said, we have to take all of the momentum we have, the luncheon session we're going to have next, and there are some open seats if people want to come, because we're going to be right over there, just brainstorming what's next. But now it's about continuing to build the influencers. In addition to folks like Jillian, who else we want to invite to the campaign, what other partner groups we want to have. I think it continues. What showed this first round of our efforts showed that the influencers are key. So we have to continue to expand and get their followings into the campaign. So I think the next couple of months are going to be about media partnerships, new influencer coming to the table, and honestly continuing to produce great content.
Amazing. And Michelle, you can't get off the stage without saying that the ad council's with us on the next one after all of that.
Well, we work with Anthony already on our Save the Food campaign, like we said. So we're going to continue the conversation and look how we can help to support the effort. Because it's a really simple movement. Obviously, anyone can get involved, like you said. And I think adding voices, whether it's individuals, brands, media companies, is just going to make it bigger and more successful. So
amazing. Well, this is it for our wonderful panel here. Thank you all so much for being with us. Come and harass them. Come and chat. We want to hear from you. Thank you all.
Good afternoon, Google Beach. Should we do that again? Good afternoon, Google Beach. I'm putting that down to the heat rather than your lack of enthusiasm for actually seeing me on stage. Am I right? Good. You know I'm actually here, don't you? I'm not some kind of VR thing. I have emotions. Good afternoon, Google Beach. All right, I'm not going to keep hammering that one. You're not with me. Welcome. I appreciate it's hot, and you are relaxed. Look at you, sir. You're virtually laying down. Is this a work day for you, or are you on holiday? Because it looks very similar. You are working. That's not a bad life, is it? Well, welcome. We hope you've had a chance to look around and take part in the demos and things like that. We've got some amazing things here on Google Beach this year. If you haven't already looked around, then I suggest you do. We're here all day, or all week. We're here all week. Grab some drinks and basically just network and enjoy yourselves. We are using the hashtag Google Beach. Very creative of us. So please make sure you share any of your experiences with us. And of course, for this particular one, any examples you've come across of AR, then please share those with them on the usual outlets, photographs and things. Or if you want to say nice things and tag us in, then we'll say nice things back. And it's the start of a beautiful romance. So, the other things to let you know about as well is if you haven't seen all of our lightning talks this last couple of days, then I suggest you head on over to YouTube. Conveniently, they are all on there. So if you missed any, you couldn't get down and see us, then they are all on YouTube. And we are collating the kind of key moments and facts that have been sort of drawn out of every single session. And we are putting those online as well under the handle of Think with Google. So make sure you click on that, and you can take away all the information. So I do appreciate it's warm, and it is my job to kind of, get you ready for our lightning talk. So we're just gonna limber up a little bit, all right? I'm gonna put the microphone down because I want you to do this is a bit of like afternoon yoga. So can you all put your arms out like this for me, please? Those not doing it will be picked on and ridiculed. That's it. Arms out. Good, this is good. Arms out. Come on, every single one of you. I'm going to put the mic down just for a second. Arms out, everybody. Okay, then put your palms out like this. Palms must be outwards. And then one hand over the other. And lock your fingers and thumbs together. Okay. I want you to wiggle your left little finger. Your left. And your right index finger. Okay, put your thumbs together. And now copy me. Are you ready? Good. Right, you're now all limbered up. We can continue. We have a little thing here. It's basically been the buzz of Cannes all week. It's our little mind games, all right? And we're just going to make sure that your brains are ready, your bodies are ready. Let's have a look at our first one. These are a play on visuals and words. So I'm going to let you know what this one is. We've just got a couple of these just to get your brain active and ready. So this one here, right, a famous word or saying, not necessarily famous, but a word or saying. So this is breakfast. You see what we've done there? It's genius, and I can tell that you're so overcome that you don't know how to express your happiness. So we're going to put another one up. Let's bring up the next one. Okay, can anyone tell me what that one is? It's a visual mind word. Anyone? I can't work out if you're stunned or bored, but we're going to carry on regardless. Anyone got it? So this one, right, is a bit of this and a bit of that. See what we've done there? Genius. Good. Glad you're enjoying them. Let's do one more. Okay, come on, you can get this one. Come on. Hello. Anyone? Not it? You not got it? Wow, the heat is kicking in. This is a bad spell of weather, see? Because the word weather is spelt badly, and therefore that... Should we just get on with it? Oh, that's the first time you've answered me, is basically to say yes, let's get on with it. Okay. So now you're all heightened to an unusual expectation of excitement. Are you ready for our lightning talk? Are you ready for the lightning talk? Indeed you are. So this is all about, as you know, because you're here, how to create great brand experiences with AR. And of course, that's no longer the next big thing, because it is here already. So please welcome to head up this session, the AR and VR global leader at Google, Leela Allen.
Thank you, Nigel. Come on in. Nigel has a really, really tough job, so thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for coming to our talk, How to Build Great Brand Experiences with AR. So 4 months ago, launched our core, our platform to build really cool, great experiences. And the have built more than 400 apps in our play. So these are we want to invite the creative community to explore how to use AR and how brands can use AR to achieve their marketing objectives. So we partnered with Ogilvy, a leading creative and advertising agency, and also Media Monks, a cutting-edge production house, to build these really cool AR experiences. If you haven't seen them, they're here on the Google Beach. Definitely go check them out. And then we found some really innovative and forward-thinking clients. Perrier, the iconic French brand of sparkling drinks, and Kiwi, the quintessential shoe care company owned by SC Johnson. And they dared try AR Core with us and build these great experiences we'll talk to you about. So today we want to talk to you about this project, share some learnings so that you can also build great AR experiences. So we have Alfonso here, who is the co-chief creative officer of Ogilvy US. He has received more than 70 international awards, including many Cannes Lion Grand Prix. We have Angela, who is leading the technology and digital production team in Ogilvy US. She's received many awards as a great innovator woman. She makes shit happen. She's amazing. And then Bart, who leads our strategy and commercialization efforts for AR and VR at Google. Before that, he spent 7 years in Australia leading sales and brand marketing and YouTube. And he's actually one of the original Googlers who started in our first Google office in Newport Beach in California. So thanks, everybody, for being here. So I'll start with you, Bart. Google has invested a lot of money and has hundreds of people working in AR. Why is it such a big priority for us?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think about two things, two key reasons. One is the pace of innovation, and the other is the scale. So in terms of the pace of innovation, you were right. We just launched AR Core, our platform for building great AR experiences, just a few months ago. And then 1 month ago at Google I/O, we made a bunch of really impressive updates to that platform. And then when I think about the power and CPUs and the chipsets in our devices, this pace of acceleration of advancement is just going to continue. And on the scale side, I mean, AR is growing really quickly. There are already hundreds of millions of devices that are AR enabled. So really for us now, the approach is, given the pace of this innovation that will continue and the scale of AR availability, is how do we work with brands and agencies to take this to the next level?
Yeah, I mean, so Angela, I think, for a great agency, advertising agency like Ogilvy, you jumped on the opportunity of working with us on AR Core. Why is it important for you?
So at Ogilvy, we're tremendously curious. We're always looking to learn new things and innovate with those. So it actually, for us, it's not about the technology on its own per se. We're interested in our brands, the messages that they are trying to get out to their consumers, and creating interesting, compelling experiences. So we looked at AR and this partnership as an opportunity to bring out a new paintbrush, if you will, add that to our palette, to our toolkit, and really create some new innovative things with some cutting edge tech, but not for tech's sake, for the sake of having a compelling outcome.
Yep. And just talking about the tech, Bart, why don't you tell us a little bit more about what's possible with this tech today and what's coming next?
Yeah, what's possible, and again, I'm from the marketing side, but so basically the way I think about it is, given the advancements in immersive computing, our devices right now can recognize the environment around us. You can place 3D objects in that environment, and then you can interact with those objects like they're really there. So today, for example, there's a few key features. There's motion tracking. So when you're moving your device through space, it recognizes these images and allows you to basically get the orientation right on your phone. And then things like lighting. So AR Core and AR recognizes the lighting around you. So when you place objects in there, they actually feel much more realistic. They react to those lighting environments. And then the physical environment, when you are thinking about this, what AR Core does is it recognizes surfaces and walls and tables. And so it creates planes out of almost everything that you can place objects in there. And again, they feel more real. And so with this latest update, there were kind of 3 key features that are really exciting. The first is vertical plane detection. So now you can place more AR objects on more surfaces like a textured wall. And the way I think about this is you can envision a piece of artwork over your mantelpiece before you actually buy it. Something called Augmented Images. So with this, you can bring images to life just by pointing your phone at it. So you could create an experience where you could see what's inside a box before you actually open it. And then I think the most exciting thing is cloud anchors. So this is a collaborative AR tool. Because if we think about it, things are a lot more fun if we can do these things with other people. So cloud anchors allows you to do that. You can have mutual AR experiences like playing a game or like remodeling a house or painting a community mural. Yeah, it's really exciting.
Yeah, so the technology side is definitely super exciting, but it's not going to do anything without the creative side, and we're at a festival of creativity. So, Alfonso, you're the mastermind of creativity at Ogilvy. What's the potential of AR for you, and what do you think some of the benefits and challenges of AR are for a creative?
Oh, I mean, I think the potential is huge. I think that simply the idea of being able to engage with the environment and even change reality, because that's what we're actually doing. You can actually influence and change the reality you're living in. That is huge. I think that needs to make us think, how do we use it to engage with consumers, how brands need to engage with consumers. If you think of it now, that is mainly defined by where it happens, if it's at home, at a store, while you're commuting. I think that what AR brings also is the concept of time. I mean, it could happen anytime. People can actually, if you want, you can open a store whenever you want to shop. Or if you need customer service, you can bring that to your moment, to your reality. And I think that changes kind of how do we need to approach that engagement. Yeah.
I mean, I love that idea of transcending time and geography.
Yep.
We say that that's one of the amazing things
Yep.
that AR can do.
Yeah,
sure.
we talk you think about space, but really what changes is time. I mean, it is really, experience can be driven by the desire of someone to happen, rather than the space, and that's really powerful.
Yep. So I think, as we said, this marriage of technology and creativity, this is what we've done with this partnership. So, Angela, can you tell us a little bit more about why you decided to partner with Google, why it's important?
So I think it is a matter of different parties coming with the very best of our expertise and our point of view on the world. So we, I think, admit that despite being an incredible creative network, a global creative network, we don't necessarily do everything. And so we look to learn from other parties, and that's exactly what's happened in this partnership. And so in this case, it was about bringing the very best of Ogilvy, the very best of Google, and having our minds and our points of view be opened all the time in our collaboration, in all of our brainstorms. We would be able to bring a point of view to the rest of the team to say, have you thought about it this way? And it would just open our world view. And in that whole process, we were able to come up with bigger, better, creative ideas on behalf of our clients. So the partnership's very important in that way as a method for achieving those ends for the brand.
So let's see what we did together, and then we can specifically talk about the two projects that are shown here on the beach. So if we can get there. So this is what we did for Kiwi, the shoe care brand. The extraordinary thing about this is that you point your phone at this 2D poster, and this man jumps out of the poster, and then you can basically change the shoes that he's wearing, and then you can figure out what are the products that can help you take care of those different types of shoes. It's really fantastic, and the experience you can see here on the Google Beach. And then the other one for Perrier. So Perrier is launching a new product. It's Perrier and Juice. And they've built a really cool TV campaign. And what we did with AR was enhance that campaign. So what you can do with this experience is basically explore the ingredients that are in this juice and just build and create and paint with it. It's really, really awesome. So Angela, tell me a little bit more about what we were trying to do with AR in these two specific campaigns.
So with Kiwi, what we did was we took one of the most awarded campaigns from last year, called Portraits Completed, here at Cannes, and we layered on. We saw an opportunity to layer on a gamification element, where not only was there this magic moment, this engaging moment of our guy jumping out of the poster, oh my gosh, into your space, but it was a way to engage the user and have them be able to explore the full complement of Kiwi products in an immersive and related way, related directly to the shoes in a way that was right in front of you. So when we think about our clients and the brand goals along the sales funnel, we think, well, there are different points where we can engage. If we, further down, there is this opportunity to really explore and jump directly to the Kiwi website to learn more and finish out that purchase process. If we look at Perrier, Perrier is in the process of launching a new product, as you said, here in Europe only for now. But when you're dealing with a brand that is all about bringing the extraordinaire, you can't just do a regular product launch. You have to do something really special. So with Ogilvy, the brand did a really wonderful short TVC spot that has this incredible, luscious, alive vine that goes into a space. Perhaps you'll see it on YouTube
Yes.
if you're not here in Europe for the product launch. And you see it deliver a Perrier and Juice to you. But what we did with AR was to actually bring it into your space wherever you are. Not on a flat screen where you're watching a short film, but wherever you happen to be in context, and to actually bring the ingredients and the flavors of the product out to you where you are. So we think of it as not just awareness, which would be your pretty straightforward product launch goal, but really amazement. So I think whenever we come up with a creative idea and produce it, it's always a question of how will people react to it. And I'm really happy to say you should all check it out in the hut.
Please.
But I have yet to show these to anyone and not have a real expression of delight come over their faces. So that's been incredibly gratifying to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. We're super excited.
And Alfonso, I think the crowd here, would love to learn a little bit more about what have you learned through this experience of building these two apps, because you're one of the first agencies to really build these branded experiences with AR for AR Core. So what have you learned? Some of the great things you've learned and some of the things you would do differently.
So, I mean, in terms of the technical process or even how do you design the experience, I think it's key that it needs to be really easy, simple, and kind of quick to get people to the core experience of the app, the core AR experience. And then that needs to be I think it needs to be short but powerful. I mean, this is a tool that can bring high value and high impact in a very short time, and that is something that we need to design against. And in terms of design, there's new variables in this kind of interactions now. You have to understand the relationship between physical objects and AR objects and how they interact with each other. That kind of that even though it's a whole space, the size of the screen. And we've been how to and they are rather than waiting with the movement. So your physical movement, you don't do anything actually the experience of it. So you understand that relation. The physical space is out there. That is a challenge. Even you start moving. So you have to take into the physical and the movement of the user. That's a challenge.
Yeah, because I think our near highlight movement is definitely something that we have to keep in mind when we build for.
And it's cool because at the end it's another element that makes the experience more playful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just that you need to move. It's you can use move as a way of enhancing that experience.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So Bart, I think a lot of people here might be thinking, this is difficult, this is expensive. How do I get started? And what are the tools that Google offers to get started on AR?
Yeah, how do you get started? That's a great question. I mean, I guess first I actually want to address, the both of you here in Ogilvy because, and this is sincere, that success starts at the top. You have to have strong leaders that make a decision to invest in this space and invest early to learn. So I very much appreciate that. But more than that, I see this partnership as an investment in your client's strategic future. But for us, so then in general for us, where do we get started? Our goal is to make technology available to everyone, and that includes AR Core. So that is available to all developers today. And I strongly encourage examples. This one, like really interesting that I see these wonderful experiences, and many brands care about what that image looks like. So there are tools that Google is working on. Offer painting that also so Poly is this repository of 3D images. If our mission is to, in that sense, is to the world's 3D information and make that accessible to everyone. So there's lots of designs that are already pre-built by engineers and lots of other developers. And I think given that, that's probably a great place to start.
And I think what's fascinating about Poly is that in the few months we've had it running, we have thousands of images already that people can use.
That's right. And advertisers are also part of that community and that ecosystem.
Yep. That's great. So Angela, what are your future plans with AR after this first experience? Do you want to use it? And hopefully yes. And how are you thinking about it in the future?
We're using it right now. Some new interesting stuff we haven't about yet. But our plans for the future are to keep, and as part of it, keep talking with you all on sort of product features, compelling narratives for our brands, for our clients.
How do you think brands can use it in the future as well?
I will be getting into that as soon as we're back in.
Fantastic. But our future at Google for AR.
I guess first and foremost, we want to continue to working with the creative community here because this helps us with our own product development and our tools that agencies and brands will need. I would love to see these experiences have a life well beyond our events here. I think creating these destinations for brands and consumers is really meaningful. And I think it's really important. And again, to reiterate, not tech for tech's sake, but we're here to drive business results. And I think for AR overall, I mean, we'll continue to invest in our platform, in the tools. We want to continue to invest in measurement and these results. And then I think the last thing is that this is a wonderful, exciting, fun area, and I'm really proud of this work, and I look forward to what all of you here create in the future.
And I think just one more question on the future. So what we have in the HUD is 2 AR apps, but I think the future is not necessarily app-based, right? So what we're doing in instant apps and web AR, maybe you can tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean,
that.
Watch this space really closely. It involves a lot of close coordination with Google and other companies, but web AR is a future where, maybe you drop the friction of having an app. Instant apps within Google is a way around that as well. So in the meantime, you'll be able to trigger, you could share a link and trigger immediately into an AR experience without having to download a heavy app to do so. But yeah, between apps, instant apps, and then this future where web AR will drop those boundaries, we'll have web-based AR, hopefully next year. But we'll see how the industry develops.
Yeah, because I think that's going to be key, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that'll only increase the scale.
Completely increase the scale. Yeah. And then, Alfonso, any final thoughts on what are your dreams when you dream about AR in the next few years?
No, I mean,
creatively, what would you like to make it happen with this new technology?
I think that AR, we're looking at it right now just for communication and engagement, but it can become a business platform, a networking platform, and all of that interweaves together. Service, customer service. So the possibilities are endless, and especially because you can actually interweave all those things in one space. That's cool.
Great. Well, thank you so much to the three of you. Thank you so much to Ogilvy, the whole team, Media Monks. You've been extraordinary. Of course, our clients, Kiwi and Perrier, thanks for believing in this new technology. We're thrilled to have these new experiences here shown at the beach. And finally, thank you, the Googlers, AR/VR team, Aaron, Mathieu, amazing work, and Roberta, of course. So thank you for being here, and we hope you start building amazing AR experiences.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leela.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Google Beach. Thanks very much. Just calm down, please. You massage my ego way too much. Okay, how are you? Don't say hot, right? Because that's a British thing. We say it's too hot. We moan about the heat, and then we moan when we go home and it's not hot. So welcome to Google Beach. Thanks for joining. Look at you two, look. You're here for the week. Everything's just going to happen around you, isn't it? You're not moving anywhere. Do you need anything? Cocktails? Do you need spritzing? You're all good? Well, let me know. Not complaining. Good. And I reckon this is actually a work day for you, isn't it? What a life you have. Well, thanks very much for joining us. It's our final lightning talk of today. If you've missed any of the others, or unfortunately been too busy, I know people are running around trying to capture everything this week, then we're being really nice and uploading all of the content onto YouTube, where content lives, right? So that will all be on there. If at any point you want to catch up on one of the lightning talks that you may have missed, then please head on over to YouTube and you can see the content. We're also sort of compiling a lot of the information that's been gathered throughout the day on our handle, which is Think with Google. So make sure you look them up, and then you can kind of get all the hot information throughout the day. So there we have it. If you haven't explored the beach yet, then why not? You just got here. You're late. Have you got a note? Okay, good. I'll read it in a minute. I'm not starting again. We haven't got time. If you haven't had a chance to look at the demos, then please do get the caps. I know some of you have got them sorted out. Obviously, the drinks, the ice cream. And share your experiences with us on social media under the hashtag, which I came up with, right? Google Beach is our hashtag. That's creative, isn't it? See? That's why I get the big bucks. So Google Beach. So do photographs, say nice things, and we say nice things back to you. And look at you. You're chilled and ready for the lightning talk. Okay. Right. Well, as much as you're relaxing here, it's important that your minds are alert, because it's important that you take on the information that you're about to hear and learn lots. So in a bid to do this, I just want to sort of open your minds a little. Got a couple of things first for you. First of all, take a look at this slide. This has got, obviously, colours written, but they're in different colours themselves. So this is obviously green, but it says red. We just want to try and activate your mind. I know it's 29 degrees, has been all week, and will remain 29 degrees all week. And I want you to try and just, open up your mind a bit. Say the colour that you see, not the word. So this would be green. Obviously, this would be red. It just plays with your mind a little bit. Nice and loud. Let's hear you. We're going to read them together. Go. Green, red. All right, a few of you are still drunk, I think, from last night. The rosé is well and truly in those pores. All right, that's good. Right, that's good. So you're kind of nearly with us. We're going to try a couple of these as well, a few mind games. This is the buzz of Cannes, right? Forget anyone else who's in town, right? Everyone, the hot word, right? I mean, it's trending, right? Nigel's mind games, right? Check these out. This is very exciting. So this is an example for you. You've got to try and work out what it is. This, I'll let you have this one. This is reading between the lines. You see what we've done there? Okay. That's a good one. Thanks. I got 30 of them if you want to, but we need to get on. So, okay, so see if you can work out the next one. What's this one? Come on, people. You're smart. Cannes' finest. The world's finest. The most creative people. What is it? Pardon? Me okay. Oh, was that a guess, or you just let me know how you are? Okay. Well, you're nearly right. It was okay by me, right? Brilliant, isn't it? I love a sigh. Okay. Right, we're going to do one more. Come on, you can get that. Ice Cube, who said that? Put your hand up. Round of applause. Look at that. Boom. Well done. You win a hat if you queue up for 20 minutes. Or maybe more. Right, are you ready for the final lightning talk of the day? Indeed you are. You're in for a real treat. This is how can technology enhance human experience. And to take this session, please welcome to the stage Vice President, YouTube Video Solutions, Debbie Weinstein.
Thank you. Great to be here. And I'm really pleased to introduce our next guest, who's going to come on stage and do a bit of an interview with me. And he is a marketing legend. He is currently the Chief Marketing Officer of Samsung Electronics America. I actually originally knew him from my days at Unilever, where he was a mentor of mine. But a few facts about Mark before he joins us, and we'll roll some video of some recent work he's done. Mark has been ranked the 6th most influential CMO by Forbes in 2017. He has an illustrious history, currently working at Samsung, previously at Unilever and at Coca-Cola. He is known for developing talent, for driving digital innovation, and for humanizing large global brands. He is famous for his open happiness work, as well as the Coke Side of Life campaign. But at YouTube, we're particularly thrilled with the work he's recently done, the Do What You Can't campaign. And before Mark comes to the stage, I'd love us to roll the video so we can take a look at some of his recent work.
Hi, Debbie.
Hello, Mark. Good to see you. All right, so that is an amazing campaign. Can you tell us a little bit about where that idea came from?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, and I'm lucky because in a certain way, working, having worked in Coca-Cola, Unilever, coming into Samsung as a company, the reality, and this is where technology can really, change and enhance human experience. It says in this video, all you need is a phone, a connection signal, and a good idea. And this insight that comes from the video as well is that 1 out of 3 people, teenagers, that's a UK statistic, aspire to be a YouTuber or an Instagrammer or whatever, like to be a creator, maker, to impact the world.
Yes.
Absolutely. So the reality is out of these insights, and I always say marketing, used to be about creating a myth and telling it, and now it's finding a truth and sharing it. And the truth is that, this is what this generation is using to make their mark on the world. And because of technology, they can actually create, they can share, they can experience content that actually enable them to be their brand. And so this is really how we said, as we wanted to launch this campaign, Do What You Can't, we said, well, at the end of the day, we make the products, that couldn't be done yesterday, and that's one of our internal motto. We make the products that can't be made, so that people, you, can do the things that can't be done. So the things you couldn't do yesterday, and today, again, with a phone, a connection signal, and a good idea, you can change the world, and you can have an audience, and so that's where the whole idea came on. We partnered with Casey Neistat very early on for the initial work that we did on the creators program, but it's much more than just Casey. We love Casey because when it comes to do what you can't, I mean, he kind of like embodies the brand, but it's more for his creative genius and his attitude to life and the mark he makes himself, on the world. And so we partnered afterwards with, several other creators. And our ambition is indeed to inspire as many people and empower as many people to actually use technology, our technology, to make their mark.
Yeah. And is that what humanizing technology? Is that what that campaign is?
Well, it is really, instead of talking about just the products and the features of the devices, it is about talking about, and I always prefer to do that, the people who use those products and those features. And I've always, going back to my Coke days at Unilever, always been about putting the people at the center. I usually rarely say consumers without adding who are people too.
Yeah.
But the reality, this idea of putting people at the center of even our marketing and marketing, the people that uses our technology and the impact they create on the world. So this year, when we did a new, episode of this campaign after the Casey launch that we had about 2 years ago at the Oscars, this year we embraced multiple directors, creators, and makers, and even directors. Issa Rae was one of them. And what we did, we asked each of them to create, in addition to the overall piece of content, to create their own piece of content, not talking about our device, but talking about their projects, what they were passionate about.
Yeah, interesting, amazing. So obviously this piece of work comes at the as part of a long series of kind of marketing experiences that you've had. I wanted to pan the camera back a little bit and talk about some of the changes that you've seen as a CMO and in marketing, the advent of digital and the rise of data. And what are some of the changes that you've seen in the way marketing is done over the years you've been working?
Yeah, I think we see, and there is a reason why a lot of the top brands today are tech brands. It's because we see a very different way of brands being built in people's mind. Before, you kind of like advertise the brand, made the product available, and that was your job. Today, if you think about it, people build brands, therefore we need to build brands too, by engaging them almost on micro engagement multiple times a day, but on their terms. So this is why, Google, sorry to pick a brand, but it's such an amazing brand because if you think about Gmail, search, maps, I mean, it's very difficult to go through a day without, using, one of the Google, sub-brands. And so at the end of the day, that's how we build a brand. But the beauty is, Google is not saying, buy me or use me. Google is just saying, I'm here, use me when you need me. And so it's all about building utility, serving people, as opposed to just selling people. And I really think that this idea of selling by serving, as opposed to just, marketing and selling, is absolutely a critical evolution, as well as using technology to engage multiple times with people, so those micro interaction, but on people's term. And that's the important part. It needs to make sure that it puts people at the center, it serves people's interests, and that's essential.
Yeah, and what are some examples of it's on a consumer's terms or people's terms? What does that look like? Is that like skippable ads?
To me, I mean, one of the things that I'm a huge believer, coming about that, and I started to here in the industry. I go to a TED conference every year, and I've seen, over the last decade, the evolution of the trends, what's trending. 2 years ago, there was at least half a dozen TED Talks in TED in Vancouver, which were talking about the relationship we have with our technology, and starting to say, maybe too much is too much.
Yeah.
And that led us to actually say, how do we think about the well-being, the digital well-being of people powered by technology? And this is really where, it's a combination of, because of how the internet was constructed, it's really a combination of the hardware, the platforms and the marketers, the ads that are in the whole ecosystem. When the internet was created, it was just supposed to serve us, but none of the products, none of the platforms, none of the marketing tools, that are available to us were available.
Yeah.
So that led us to say, how do we do something? We partnered with Ariana Huffington, who had created her new company called Thrive. And I told Ariana, there's got to be a technology part to that. And so we worked with her to create the Thrive app, which was, I think, the first digital well-being solution to be embedded into a device. So with this Thrive app, you can put your phone on Thrive mode and not to be disturbed or tempted for as long as you had chosen to, 20 minutes, an hour, and so on. You can take micro steps to actually learn to use your devices better, but it also gives you feedback on how you use all your apps and actually whether you do want, after 75 minutes on a specific, even if it's emails, which then it tells you you really want to do more emails today, or do you want to put a stop? And so Google, announced at their I/O conference a whole digital, I think you call it digital wellness solution.
Yeah.
I had a panel yesterday, actually, on the innovation stage together with Susan Wojcinski, and we talked about digital well-being, digital wellness together, and that was fascinating. And then Apple launched about 2 or 3 weeks ago, at least announced, that they're going to come up with what I think they call screen time and some app management systems. And so I'm thrilled because, believe me, at the very beginning, when I started to talk, at least internally, about doing something to tell people when they shouldn't be using their devices, I was wondering how popular I was going to be.
Yeah. Yes, so let's talk a little bit about that, doing brave work that's maybe counterintuitive to some people. Do you have any advice for the audience based on your experiences of how have you convinced others to do things that seem a little crazy?
Well, I do think that I've been lucky because, before Samsung, being at Unilever has embraced, as sustainability as really a platform to really, intersect with business. And that's brave because it's not easy. I mean, people say that they, want more sustainable products, but when you ask them, to vote, where with their wallet, they actually don't behave the way they talk. So that's brave work. But in general, I do think that it's always essential to have some convictions. I think especially the more you grow in a position in an organization, the more it's not just about the skills you have, but also the choices you make in a certain way. And I certainly personally chose to drive that conversation about digital well-being and to drive the collaboration between again, the hardware manufacturer, the platforms, and the marketers and advertisers. And I've had several conversations here with lots of people in the industry to actually drive that forward and turn it into kind of like a different way of thinking about our industry and some kind of a ethical responsibility to the lens of our industry. And the last thing I'd say, which is a filter I wouldn't say I've had it throughout my career, but I've had it at least since the Coca-Cola day, which is maybe sounds like a catchphrase, but personally, one of the things I would encourage everybody to think about if you want to do brave work is to think, I'd rather be fired for what I did than for what I didn't do.
Nice.
And I think it's a mindset of saying there's certain things you need to, not necessarily always ask for permission, or if you do, you need to have very strong conviction to make sure that you don't give up.
Yeah, wow, that's great. Well, I think that's a great note to close us out on. Let's all hope we get fired for the work that we did do as opposed to the work we didn't do.
Thank you. Thank you, Debbie.